Alrighty, hey, what's going on, everyone? Earthmaster here. Well, Sunday night, 7/7/2019, 8:06 p.m. here, my time in Northern California, where it's relatively quiet. No earthquaking activity up here, but the activity continues down south in the Southern California region, obviously, which is expected following the 6.4 earthquake and also that 7.1 magnitude earthquake they had following that. So all these little earthquake spikes that you see on the seismograph stations here are well, they're definitely earthquakes, and that's a Ridge Crest station that I have pulled up there near Laurel Mountain. It looks like that's the name of the station, at least, but definitely really close to the activity that's occurring down there by the Ridge Crest area in Southern California, out there in the desert. So yeah, we're definitely continuing with the aftershock activity, and from what I hear, according to the USGS, is that they're going to be expecting over the next 6 months up to about 34,000 earthquakes, and that includes pretty much all the magnitudes. They didn't really give a 100% detailed quake analysis on what to expect, but the chances are still kind of low for anything happening, according to them, at least as far as a major quake goes. But I did leave the text down here in the bottom of what they stated, about a 3%, what was it, 3 or 6% chance of I think it's 3, of a bigger quake and so on. But I left that scrolling down here in the bottom. I'll continue to leave that up there for right now, unless they state otherwise or come up with some new information here. But let's go ahead and jump right into it and take a look at the most recent map here from the USGS. Now, once again, this is only one-day magnitudes, and I have it set here to show all the magnitudes. One day, all magnitudes here in the US, and there's, at least on this one, let me zoom in a tad bit here. Here a second here, a little bit closer might help. There's definitely a lot of activity, folks, there's no doubt, and it's continuing. Show you the total number here in just a minute. This is just one day, 1,224 earthquakes within this region, and you can see the well-defined line of quakes spreading out there, kind of from north to south, or northwest to southeast, so to speak, with a little bit of renewed activity continuing to head north towards the Coso volcanic field up here. And that's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Right now there's still no threat of any type of volcanic activity in the region, and that's coming from the USGS folks, so they know what they're talking about, right? For the most part, I think. But yeah, it looks as though there's been, a little bit more renewed activity here towards the north. There's kind of a little pause in between a lot of the activity here. The cluster of quakes, it seems like it jumps a few miles. What's the scale down here? Yeah, it jumps a couple miles there, and then it starts back up here towards the northwest, which is very interesting here. A lot of the red circles indicating more recent activity, but the recent activity is pretty much all over, from the north to the southern tip of the activity down here. You can see as it extends further southeast here, the rupture that is, it continues with renewed activity. So it's hard to say what's going to happen next. I think, if anything, we may possibly see another earthquake. I don't know how large. Maybe, of course, we're going to see earthquakes, right? But as far as like a 6 magnitude or so, probably up here towards the north, where this newer activity is occurring, and that's kind of up there around the Coso volcanic field, if not right around it. So definitely something to monitor and keep an eye on, but it doesn't look like the activity is stopping or halting at a point. You know what I mean? It's not it's not stopped at one spot where the 7.1 took place. It's continuing to go northwestward, and that's kind of what we've seen right after that 6.4 struck. We kind of seen this northward movement. You can watch some of my update videos before the 7.1 hit, and I point out that northward migration numerous times in the update videos. So that's similar to what we're seeing right now. And even though they say there's just a low chance of a 6.0 or anything greater occurring, I think it's very probable. Now it took about 36 hours from that 6.4 to the 7.1 magnitude. There was a 36-hour window or 38-hour window, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit longer. And that's kind of what we have to look at. It's been a day, almost 2 days now, close to 2 days, since we've had that 7.1 there. Has it been 2 days? I guess so. I get all confused when I'm working super long hours. But either way, keeping an eye on the migration as it moves towards the northwest, as we could see possibly another quake up there. And just the way that's continuing to migrate up there, we'll have to see, right? See exactly what happens. I'm not predicting anything, but it's taking the same effect, or it's doing the same motion, so to speak, as what happened prior to the 7.4. Is what I'm trying to make a point there, or trying to point out, I should say. So yeah, quite a bit of earthquake activity continuing. Like I said, one day, all magnitudes here. A huge cluster of quakes in a line, and there's no doubt they're spreading out a little bit, right? You can see all these orange dots out here, scattered throughout the land, away from the main swarming that's going on there. And even further south down here too, we still got a little bit of activity occurring. But I do want to show you guys the. Let's go over here real quick. Get rid of this. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Okay, here we go. So this is another website, right? Caltech website. I'm going to go ahead and refresh it on this end. That way, double check and make sure that we're at the most recent, which we are. And there's a pretty staggering, significant amount of earthquakes out here. The number, anyway. As we take a look and zoom in towards that region there, you can see 4,349 earthquakes. So that's a lot, folks. But the USGS folks threw out a number the other night during a press conference of 34,000 expected earthquakes within the next 6 months. So, I guess they're expecting it. Which is definitely a huge number. 4,000 earthquakes is a lot. 4,000 aftershocks, so to speak. But even on this map, you can still see the migration. The red indicating newer, most recent, actually within the last hour. There's still a lot of earthquake activity happening every minute. Let me see, that text down there is not doing too good. There we go. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the north area, kind of shooting towards the Sequoia National Park area up there. Still a pretty good distance away, but it is kind of just migrating over there towards a new fault system up there towards the north. Who's to say that this little rupture on the little lake fault zone, little lake fault sections out there, don't meet up with some other faults, and create a new rupture on a different fault, or maybe become one. Who knows? Either way, I still think there's a lot of pressure being applied out there, folks, and there's definitely a lot of earthquake activity taking place worldwide. I'm going to jump into that right now and show you guys. Let's get rid of this real quick and Once again, you can still see more renewed activity occurring there on the Ridgecrest station in California. Pretty good. Well, I'm not going to say a big earthquake, but I'm guessing probably close to maybe a 3 is what it's looking like. But earthquake activity. There's a lot going on worldwide, folks. Right now, there's, I have it set at 2.5 and above. I went ahead and added that back to the globe, the earthquake 3D globe, because kind of missing out on some somewhat important earthquake activity if we just go with 4.5. I had a 3.1 up here north. Hold on 1 second here. Let's go ahead and get rid of a couple of those 2s. Keep the 3s up here. Yeah, it looks like over there in the eastern Washington area, maybe northern Oregon, a little 3.1 back there hiding behind that cluster of quakes there in Southern California. But taking a look at this renewed activity, this newer activity out here south of Mexico, extending, well, you can see it right here on the globe, kind of extending all the way over here towards Puerto Rico Islands region and then over into the Atlantic. This is all new right here, including down here in Chile. A lot of newer earthquake activity, but not as much as what we're seeing over here on this side of the globe. The Pacific Ring of Fire is definitely active, shooting over there towards the Indonesia Islands region as well, where they had that significant 6.9 earthquake with a tsunami warning issued. I don't believe there was a tsunami generated, but definitely sizable earthquake right there, and many aftershocks within that region as well. Quite a few 4s and 5s happening after that main shock there. Of course, those folks over there are no strangers to big earthquakes, and 6.9 is pretty good size, but they can definitely see a lot bigger over there in that section of the plates. Following a line of earthquakes up here around the Pacific Ring of Fire, you can see that line right here extending up into the close to the Philippine Islands region and up into Japan as well. Just some moderate 4s hitting in that region. So yeah, we might want to keep an eye on there as well. Some deep earthquake activity out here around Fiji. We haven't really seen too much in the way of deep earthquake activity, but we're definitely seeing it today. Let me see if I can find out where that went to. What was that? 5.3. Yes, 5.3 magnitude earthquake at 523 kilometers below the surface. Pretty way down there in the Pacific plate there, below the Pacific Ocean, I should say. And yeah, so definitely a lot of earthquake activity in that part of the globe. Over here, not for sure what's going on in this region of the world here. Let me take a look here on my side and see if I can't pull something up on it. Looks like 4.4 magnitude earthquake. Let me get a location there in Afghanistan. Depth of about 192 kilometers, at least according to the USGS here. And that's pretty sizable quake over there, but I don't think they're going to see anything bigger. I guess they could. Hold on a second here. So yeah, overall picture, folks, definitely an increase in earthquake activity around the globe. I mean, it's just very active. And I'm not going to say it, we haven't seen it like this before, because we have, but it's definitely on the increase as of today. Let's see here. And once again, just checking out the slow slip tremor event map. This here is a map I kind of like to look at when it comes to movement on the Cascadia Subduction zone here. This here is a map showing the most recent tremors being picked up. And today, it looks like today's date, 7/7. These are the magnitudes. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, magnitudes over here on the right side of the screen. Energy anyway being released, equivalent to a certain magnitude, but not those aren't really earthquakes. They're kind of like just tremors, slow movement, vibrations in between the plates out there. In this case, the Juan de Fuca plate and the North American plate, doing whatever they want to do there, but they're definitely creating some movement, some tremor. And it's up there around the Vancouver Island region, stretching into southern Oregon, it looks like. So a little bit less active than we've seen over the last couple days. I know we can go back to yesterday here. Let's see if I can bring that up. And you can see pretty much a good cluster of quakes there in southern Oregon. A lot more than what we're seeing today. And also that stretched into Vancouver Island as well. Really interesting is to see activity right here outside of, let's see exactly where that's at. This is kind of way down into Northern California here, and I have to say I've never seen it down this far. And this may coincide with what's going on down there in Southern California. Even though it's hundreds of miles away, there's still definitely a lot of movement on these big plates that could have, kind of like adverse reactions down, way down below, like way down in Southern California. So, it's hard to explain. But this is very interesting here. I'm going to have to go way back here on some of these files here and see if I can't see if this has ever happened, because I don't believe it has. And I've been looking at this for quite some time, ever since. Oh man, it's been quite a few years I've been looking at these maps, and I just don't recall anything being that low. Anyway, or at least this low into California. In that case, that would be pretty much the southern part of the, I don't know. I don't even think the Cascadia Subduction Zone is within that area. It's kind of more over here towards the west and then up north. But I'm going to have to check back on that and see what is up with that. Just kind of spread out down there around the Oregon City. That's kind of up there in the Sierra Nevada mountain region. So, yeah, interesting. I'm going to check back on that here in a little bit. But anyway, folks, I'm trying to think if I was going to cover anything else. I can't remember. It's been a long day, let me tell you. Not a whole lot of sleep over these past couple days covering earthquake activity and whatnot. With that, I guess I'll end the update video here. I still have the live stream up and running. I will continue to keep that going. I do appreciate the new subscribers and the folks that come in here to chat. Looks like I was just looking at a couple stats on here, and it looks as though the channel gained almost 400 subscribers within the last couple days, so that's kind of a big deal. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the folks coming in and stopping by, saying hi, and subscribing to the channel. I try to keep 100% factual information on this channel. I don't want to throw out any earthquake predictions, any type of fear mongering or anything like that on this channel. So I try to keep it clean. Try to bring people in here that want to find factual information, most recent information, breaking news, breaking news stories, whether it's volcanoes or solar weather data or asteroids. So I try to keep this channel updated the best that I can, and I want it to be a place for folks to come to find the information they need, and not be of a false, twisted, fear-mongering type way. So, but I always say be prepared for anything out here, because it can happen. Anyway, folks, I'm going to jump off here and take a little break, and I'll probably be back on the live stream here pretty soon. In the meantime, peace out, and we'll chat to you guys a little bit later. Some more earthquakes popping up there on the graphs once again. So peace. Have a good night, everyone.